everyone, it's Vesper Star of as Morning Star here with another video. And I wanted to make a video about all the books that I read in 2022. I thought that would be kind of like fun to start doing recaps because I'm trying to read more. And because I have a huge to be read pile and I kind of shrunk it down, but then it grew again because I can't stop myself from buying books that I don't read. So at the beginning of the year, I actually started keeping a list of all the books that I read so I could make a video like this. Some of these are the ones that I have made reviews for, so I won't delve too much into those, and I'll just link the review in the description. So in the month of January, the very first book I read this year was The Little Book of Cat Magic by Deborah Blake. This was one of the books that I got for Christmas last year, and it was one of the books I read. It's a cute little book about basically how to incorporate cats into your witchcraft, because I am a huge cat lover. You know, I have a cat of my very own that I dearly love. And it's very interesting because it also has like different cat deities that you can work with, but also like the history of different religions and how they viewed cats. Because cats are just these little magical creatures and I love them very much. The book itself, I would actually highly recommend if you love cats and are into witchcraft, even if you don't really practice, because I feel like you could learn a lot about cats from this little book. The second book I read this year in January is The Witch's Way by Sean Robbins and Leanna Greenaway. This was also a gift I got for Christmas. It's not normally one I would pick up. I really didn't enjoy this book that much. It does have some good resources about like different correspondences, like plant meanings and color meanings, and that's very useful. But this is a Wiccan book masquerading as a witch book, and the two are actually very different. Wicca is a religion, and witchcraft is a craft that can be in any religion. I just don't like these kind of books that kind of generalize witchcraft and other people's religions, because in this it's like trying really hard to please the masses, like non-witch people, and I really don't like when people try to censor our practices just to make non-witches happy. You know, they talked about how real witches don't worship or work with Satan, and that's just a Hollywood thing, but there are actually those of us who have worked with Satan, and my patron is Lucifer, so it kind of rubs me the wrong way, and it's very love and light, which I'm not huge on. Kind of very anti-left-hand path. So that's that. That's why I didn't really enjoy it, and I wouldn't recommend it unless you're maybe a Wiccan. Sorry about that rant. But in the months of February, March, and April, I read Astral Dynamics by Robert Bruce. It took me so long because I only read one chapter a day and I didn't even really finish it. But it's not because it was bad, it's just because I didn't need the latter half of the book. I'm working on trying to astral project. I kind of put that on the back burner right now because I need to work on some other stuff first. But that's basically what this book is about. It gives you techniques and methods on how to astral project. And it's just a very hefty book with a lot of info that I don't even really know if I soaked up. But I guess I would recommend it if you have a better attention span than me, and if you're trying to astral project. In May, I read Psychic Witch by Matt Oren. It's basically as it says on the cover, a metaphysical guide to meditation, magic, and manifestation. It's very good for beginners, and it has a lot of beginner-friendly stuff to try to strengthen your psychic senses. I haven't actually tried any of them yet, but I really need to. But I would recommend it if you're getting into the stuff and you want to know more about it. Because by the time I read this, I kind of already knew a lot of this stuff. But I think for a beginner, it would be very useful. In June, I read Sundog, and I made a review on it. So the link for that will be in the description. In July, I read all 3 of S. Connolly's modified demonolatry books. They were all very short, like 20 pages each, and a lot of them were copied from each other and had the same thing. It's basically how to practice demonolatry if you cannot be open about it. I mean, I would recommend to just pick one of them and read it. But I don't actually have them physically because they are ebooks, so here's the covers. So I also read The Griffin Generation Book 3, Colony by Alexander Bizzle. I hope I said that right. So this is book 3 of a series about griffins in our modern day society. They're a species that was recently created, and they're trying to fight for their rights. This series, this book is signed, and because I helped kickstart these, and the book 4 is coming out. Book 4 is coming out soon, and I'm very excited for it. The author is also a furry, so if you want to support a member of our fandom, I highly recommend you checking out these books. They just keep getting better with each one, honestly. In August, I read The Lore of Asmodee by Orendel Overman. So this book is basically what it says. It's all you need to know about the demon Asmodeus, who is one of the demons I'm devoted to. So I wanted to check this book out. It's on Amazon. I would take it with a grain of salt, just like most spiritual books, because I don't know how accurate it is. But if you want to know more about Asmodeus, I would recommend it. I really like the section. It included the Book of Tobit part where Asmodeus is in, and that was very interesting. I also read Crafting with Cat Hair by Kaori Tsutaya, who is a Japanese writer, and it was translated by Amy Hirschman. It's basically just a little book talking about how you can needle felt different crafts with your cat's hair. My mom is really grossed out by this, but I think it's a good way to have a memorial of your cat. Our poor little feline friends won't always be here with us. That's kind of why I got it. My cat's very elderly, and I just want to have stuff to remember him by. I highly recommend it. In September, I read Journal 3 by Alex Hirsch. I'm pretty sure it's Alex Hirsch. He made Gravity Falls, so I assume it's his. It's basically just the journal from Gravity Falls. I've had this book ever since I got into Gravity Falls years ago, and I've never read it, but it kept taunting me on my shelf, so I'm like, I'm gonna read that freaking thing. I highly recommend it for fans of the show if they haven't already read it. It's just kind of fun. It was nostalgic in a way because it brought me back to this world. So, finally, in October, I got so tired of my failed attempts at trying to astral project. So, I started reading A Field Guide to Lucid Dreaming by Dylan Tosillo, Jared Zeisel, and Thomas Peisel. As it says, it's a guide on how to lucid dream. I found it very helpful. I haven't yet lucid dreamed, but it has good methods on how to do it, which I'm very excited to try. Which I have made some attempts, and I have started remembering my dreams a lot more. So hopefully soon I will lucid dream. It's also reassuring because there's a lot of fear-mongering going on around lucid dreaming lately. It can be used as a way to, help you while you're sleeping, so that way you can still work on things that can help you in the waking world. And I like that it doesn't shy away that, lucid dreaming, you can, let's just say a lot of people use lucid dreaming to smooch. And in November, I read Slender Man. I also did a review on this. I'll leave it in the description. I just posted it a couple weeks ago. Okay, so this next book is very special, and I debated about putting it because I'm actually not finished reading it. But November into December, I read the entirety of part 1. There's 2 parts in this book. But it's Angels Before Man by Raphael Nicholas. This book, I will have a whole video on when I'm done reading it. I've just been kind of putting it off because I finished part 1, which is Happy Light Slice of Life, and it's getting into part 2, which is much sad. And I struggle when people or characters I love go through trauma. Essentially, I will say, this book is a queer retelling of the fall of Lucifer from heaven, and it's absolutely amazing and poetic and depressing. I highly recommend it. I will make a full video on it when I finish it. I just have to gain the courage to finish it. I really do adore this book, even though I am too scared to read it. So that's probably going to be the first book in my What I Read in 2023 video. But yeah, that's all the books I read. And hopefully this year I will read even more. But thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!